Hello everyone and welcome back to the plot. If you're new here, my name is Saren and this is my allotment plot. Yeah, it's crazy and I love it. But anyway, today we are going to do some harvesting because there is an awful lot that needs picking, and I'm also going to attempt to get to the back of the plot, clear a bit more of a path so that I can get to the fig tree because it's not looking good. I think it might have died. There's a lot of bindweed wrapped around it and yeah, it's not looking good. So I want to get to the back of the plot today and then also tame the pumpkins. The Queensland Blue have gone everywhere. One of the vines was actually running straight into my neighbour's plot, so I've kind of like pulled it back, and it's kind of just going down the communal path instead. So I need to sort those plants out and trim them back. Anyway, let's get on with it. Oh, I've also brought loads of veggie scraps with me because I want to get filling the compost bin. So when we are trying to get to the back of the plot and cutting stuff down like the comfrey, I'm going to stick the comfrey leaves into the compost as well, and any of the pumpkin bits and bobs that I trim off, and hopefully I can get a full compost bin pretty soon because yeah, I'm gonna need lots of compost for next year. Anyway, I want to get through the archway. This is gonna be difficult. Look how overgrown it is at the moment. Don't even know where to stand. Where is safe? I don't know. So the back of the plot is pretty much a tangle of bindweed and pumpkins, and there's nowhere really where I can put my camera down, so I'm sorry if you can't really see much in these first few clips. But yeah, I think the only way I'm going to tackle this area is if I just, well, I'm going to try and rip out as much of the bindweed as possible so that it doesn't get too tangled within the pumpkins, but also I think over winter it'll be easier to tackle the bindweed. I'll be able to see the roots easier when everything starts to die back, and I think in winter I am just going to cover the whole of the back area over in black plastic, probably wood chip over the top, and then just have pots and containers in the back area, just because, yeah, the bindweed situation is not good. There's also the comfrey situation, and those plants have gone out of control. I don't know whether it's worth like keeping an open patch of comfrey or just, waiting for it to all to die back and then just covering it over. I know comfrey is a useful thing to have on the plot, but yeah, it's also taken over the back of the plot. So I don't know, some things to think about. Also, for the pathways, spoiler alert, there has been a wood chip delivery at the plot. When I was there yesterday, I did collect about 4 wheelbarrows full, so I'm hoping in the next video I will be able to weed and lay the cardboard down and wood chip the main paths between the beds. I think that's going to be really good for keeping the weeds down, because as you'll see in a bit, the pathways are just weeds, weeds and grass. Right, now the sweet peas are kind of tied back a bit. I can get around here and I can get to the dahlia. So this really needs help. I'm gonna make it a little support, deadhead it, but I think I need to be able to get through there first. It's time to sort out the fig tree. I don't think it's dead because it has got little buds on it, but literally all the leaves have gone. So I'm gonna get the bindweed off it, weed the pot, and hopefully bring it back to life. I also want to chop some of this down as well, but yeah. I also need to get this pumpkin off the ground and onto the arch, and look, we have our first Queensland blue. So if I can prop this vine up and over, that'll be good. And I've also noticed there's another Queensland blue over there. Look at that beauty. But I think I'm gonna leave this patch for another day. Yeah, and try and make that path a little wider as well. Oh, at least I've done this bit. This bit's looking good now. I can actually get through. So the fig tree, the poor fig tree, it was absolutely covered in bindweed, and there was nettles growing in the pot. So yeah, this poor thing has really been suffering. It's lost pretty much all of its leaves. I did give it a really good feed. The pot felt really light, so I'm wondering whether it actually lost all its leaves because it just wasn't getting enough water. And of course the bindweed did not help, but I think it will be okay. If it doesn't bounce back now, it might bounce back next year. We'll see. Moving on to helping the dahlia. This one is called Heartenaz. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I always forget what it's called. I do have a Teesborough Audrey as well on the plot, and they do look very similar, but the Heartenaz is a lot more pink, and the Teesborough Audrey is very soft. But they both have the same like flower shapes. Anyway, I made a little support for it and I deadheaded it. So I'm hoping it will have enough space now and it will continue to bloom. And then clearing this path, oh my gosh. So I planted some tall nasturtiums. These ones climb, and they've produced so many vines and stems and bits from just like one plant, and instead of climbing over the archway, they're just like running through the pathways. So I was pretty ruthless with them and just chopping loads of bits off. Some of the strands I did like prop up onto the archway because I don't want to get rid of the whole plant, but I can't believe just how crazy these couple of nasturtium plants have gone. Absolutely huge. They're just as problematic as the pumpkins. Anyway, the pathways are pretty much clear now. It's definitely a lot easier to manoeuvre around. And I know for the last couple of videos I've been in and ahhing between whether to keep grass paths or not. But since there has been a wood chip delivery, I am just going to wood chip, especially round the beds. Maybe I'll keep one patch of grass like by the greenhouse, so there's some greenery, and just maintain that one patch of grass. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wood chip. I'm going to cardboard and then wood chip. So I'm going to do a good weed beforehand, and I don't really want to use the plastic in the walkways just because, as I mentioned before, the toads really like to hide underneath the black plastic, and I don't want to be stepping on toads. I think the black plastic is an exception for the back of the plot, and I will get some like stepping stones and just have containers up there. That's the plan anyway, and yeah, hopefully I won't be stepping on toes. So I think, yeah, I'm just gonna cardboard and wood chip, and hopefully that'll be fine. I think we made some pretty good progress today, and there are some clear pathways now. So I can definitely get around most of the beds aside from the back pumpkin bed. So we're just going to leave that till next time. But yeah, right now it's definitely snack time. So I'm going to have a bit of a break, and then we're going to go around and try and find all the vegetables that need picking. I've already seen some giant courgettes, and I don't know where they came from because I only picked the courgettes like 3 days ago, and now we've already got some giant ones. So yeah, we're gonna go around, fill my little harvest basket, and oh, there's a bee in the greenhouse. It's gone. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I thought I'd pull a carrot to see how big they're getting. Look at that. Oh my word, I am so excited. We gotta pull some more quick. Come on, let's go. I just tried to untangle some of the pumpkins, but I'm really confused and I don't know which plant is which. So I'm just gonna leave it for today, I think. Let's just get picking. Another big one. I am very impressed by how well the Cobra French beans are producing. Considering I have about 3 or 4 plants, the rest got eaten. They're doing so well. I'm picking so many French beans, and I've actually discovered that I love French beans. They're my favourite bean, and I actually don't like runner beans. And next year, I don't think I'm going to bother with runner beans. I don't know what they just don't taste as nice, and I kind of don't like their texture because they've got kind of like a furry outer layer, if that makes any sense. And I feel like, yeah, when they get too big, they obviously get woody and stringy. But I found even when I leave the French beans get like really big and chunky, they still taste nice and they're not all stringy and weird. So next year is definitely going to be a French bean year only, and I'd love to try growing the yellow French beans and the purple French beans, dwarf French beans. all the French beans. Another thing I'm finding is growing the beans in teepees is not very helpful because I feel like I just can't see the beans. In the past, I've grown them over archways, and I think next year I will definitely have bean archways. I think it's so much easier to pick them and see them because they tend to just like hang down through the arch when they're big enough. So yeah, that's another thing to think about next year. I'm already trying to make a note and a little plan ready for next year because I need to remember what has worked well this year and what hasn't, and be a little bit more prepared for next year. Anyway, with all that being said, I love French beans and I can't wait to try some new varieties next year. So here we are. This is what I've harvested today. These are the lovely beetroot from my neighbour and a couple of onions. They were going quite squidgy, so I'm just gonna chop them up and freeze them as soon as I get home. But look! Oh, the sun's coming out as well. So I think that is it for today. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you'd like me to make a video Let me know if you'd like to see how I cook and preserve what I'm growing. I know I've had a couple of questions in the past, like what are you going to do with your produce basically, and yeah, I'd like to share some recipes, so if you're interested let me know and I could make like a little bonus video of cooking some things, especially the beetroot. I have quite a few good recipes for the beetroot. So I'd love to share them with you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye friends.